But yeah, haven't been streaming at all because I've been on so many outings and even have stage fright. But I don't want to be treated like a streaming cash. Don't want to be treated like a streaming cash cow. Neither is a request cash cow. But I've been lately. Oh wait, I could just play games. Oh, never mind. Oh shoot. Yeah, I'm not doing that today. So no, I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna record the screen, but there's even though I don't have any rush or intentions of getting a capture card, since I haven't been frequently uploading, frequently playing games. Haven't been playing frequently lately of video games because I focus a lot on projects. Focus a lot on other projects such as drawing trades, purchasing commissions sometimes. So yeah, even if some commissions get denied for explained reasons or unknown reasons, which I dealt with lately. But at least I accept the fact that not everyone wants to do it. So maybe I guess I'm teaching someone the value of slowing down for a fact. While I was wanting to, okay, I'm trying to make the camera stable. Okay, and unfortunately, I guess my tablet is kind of dead. It's been a week since my tablet is dead, so I'm going to be. It's still making sound, but the screen is black. Still could hear the typing sound where I typed the passcode, but yeah. Guess one of the upcoming drawings that's almost done is stuck in there. So I'll have to redraw it if I couldn't save it. I get a new iPad. I'll have to get a new iPad or another tablet. But there's no rush. But nevertheless, still have a phone, so I should be grateful. So I should be kind of grateful for what I have right now. Okay. So, yeah, I'm not expecting anyone to watch the stream, but okay, so I'm just gonna get some gameplay footage. So that's it. Okay, maybe heard that Splatoon 3 has updates. But if I don't play that frequently, then yeah, I know that some people wants me to play the Switch 2, but I don't have any interest. Don't have enough interest. Don't play enough to have interest. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but yeah, even one of the not so trusted friends are convincing me to do the farmer shooting game, but which I don't have any interest. Just because something is good doesn't mean I'm interested. Doesn't automatically mean it's interesting. But anyways, got a big run to complete. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Gets in some rare footage of getting Splatfest results in the middle of the big run. Sure. Concept. Yeah. Yeah, my team won. So, yeah, guess I saw. guess I saw one of the videos already, so I know what to expect. Man. Yeah, I've been taking a break from playing Splatoon 3 for a while.
Ranking of every year with Thomas. Last place is his elite nitrogen era. It should not even be possible to make 2 seasons of Thomas this year, if they somehow did. It's so painful to watch every single episode in this area all revolve around the same plot of the engines being sent to pick up someone for serve off the hatch for someone else. Then they mess up 3 times and have to make up their mistakes. It is that boring. 4.5 is all engines go, because I literally forgot this show existed. That's how forgettable it was. Because Thomas is not even a single Mosquero of Thomas. It doesn't have the same feel as the original 24 seasons. Nobody actually did. Training. Maybe fans question what the show is actually about, but at least it's slightly more watchable than the other.
Yeah, I could just skip at least 85 days.
There are some really good moments in this game that the show also did better than the
But yeah, only need 1 day to only need 1 day here because there's nothing has changed. So I guess this is the only Splatfest and the only initial big run that I missed out in 2024 because they didn't have year subscription that time.
Feels like an actual fleshed out character. Same with so many other characters like the sheep, Salt, and even Bearskin. Toby finally reverted back to his old and wise self from the classic era. If we can keep this up. 2026 reboot, and we really like Bruno. Otherwise, the less said about this show, the better. Number 4 is Big World Big Adventure. Another very badly inconsistent one. The structure for this era is pretty bad. International episodes feel like completely useless filler episodes for half of the seasons and involve Thomas making a hit era-style screw-up in every single one. All the new characters are super fun, and one note especially in season 22 and 23. Every single character, or even more out of character, especially Thomas, Gordon, James, and Percy. But most of Sodor episodes are great, especially the Novel Light episodes. Hopefully the new show that features it is actually really good this year. Number 3 is a major jump up in quality.
Nice.
There are some really good episodes. Mainly the ones with
Man.
James were the most interesting characters
So-
in the show. But a lot of the episodes
Like Nintendo Switch Sports. Yeah, they recycle it, but are they the same? Are they even the same items from the past few years? Don't tell me they're the same items. So yeah, guess reasons I want to come back to playing the game are updates and major updates and completely new weapons, completely new items. Maybe I already have it. Okay, I don't know if I have that already. So, what do I even care about? Are they completely new? Okay, Adoring Crowd, yeah, I already have it. Will they even recycle those? I'm not sure if those are from last year. Yeah, there's no major updates. So I didn't even have a subscription at the time. But man. Yeah, I guess I've been on. So guess I'll just. Okay, let's see if we can.
The results are pretty bad. They're pretty predictable. Plots. The top two. Hit that follow button real quick and help me get up to 1K. Number 2 is the brick. While there are some garbage episodes that plant around characters like Toby and Henry, its best moments are some of the best things we've ever gotten. This era also has got so many old characters like Harvey, Daisy, the Pack, and Little Western. But my number 1 is the unbeatable classic era. With the new show coming out this fall, here's my ranking of every era for Thomas. Last place is his Eeltail Alley. It should not even be possible to make 4 seasons of Thomas this morning. It's a Little Western, but my number 1 is the unbeatable classic era.
Okay, so this is my chance. I guess after 5 p.m. Yeah, I guess I know how to play Splatoon. I know how to know the controls, so I'm not sure when I'll either buy a new Switch game or extend the subscription. Man. Yeah, I guess yeah, just streaming just to make up for my missed opportunity from last year. So, yeah, I guess the Splatfest will be the same from the last couple of years. So, I'm not sure if they're going to ever repeat the Grand Festival if they're doing Splatfest, but yeah, I guess at least the purpose of rerunning Big Run to a place can be useful for those okay. Where's the conversation? Oh, yes, already? Okay. I guess it's good for a few hours. Yeah, that's good. I already got bronze, so... Yeah, I guess it's another medal. And I'm not sure when I'll play Splatoon 3 again. Besides special events. So I made up the last opportunity. This opportunity. So... What's even the point of squid bagging, so I know what this... Yeah, fine. Got it. What's even so addictive? Yeah. Guess the only change is man. What if I want to unlock more of these? Man, it just only has a spider. Should be every single weapon.
That's not necessarily healthy. Out of factor. Factor is the best way to do it. Macro counting, take the time, money, and energy that you save. You're investing in you. Your meals show up delicious, ready to go, and curated to your needs. You're not just buying food. You're buying the discipline to hit your goals. Get started today to transform your future. Thank you.
I hate that I can't keep this a secret. I canceled all my food delivery subscriptions and upgraded to Cooking, and it's totally transformed the way I eat because every meal is packed with the best from across the country. The variety is unlike anything I've ever seen, with over 100 menu options to choose from every week, so I can always find the exact global cuisines I'm craving, whether it's Thai, Japanese, or Italian. So I can have Chef Christy Flores' signature grilled spicy salmon bowl for lunch, and Chef Mark Gianni's incredible rigatoni with mushroom bolognese, and all 80% off if you click. To meet my health goals, I've been using the app to easily filter for dietary options like vegan, keto, and even high protein. So I get the nutrition I need without ever stepping into a grocery store. And on my busiest days, they offer convenience I can count on. Meals are freshly prepped, delivered right to my door, and ready to heat in 8 minutes. And the best part, it fits my budget. Right now, Cooking is offering 50% off your first week. Get this deal today because it won't last long.
Look for a pass. We find Dallas. We help you. Move out.
You come back here. You dumb shit.
What are you talking about?
Can't you see the sign?
Huh?
Strictly no jerking off. Strictly no crack. Ain't no listening. Just breathe.
I'll be careful.
I'm telling you, big shot. You want to beat it?
How dare you speak to me like that?
I'll talk to you any way I like. You know who I am?
Look, mister, I just need to find some role.
Who do you think you are? You can be so particular. You're nothing.
I'm Buzz Lightyear.
Wise guy. You know everything. This is my place. I own it.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I'm going to turn this into dog food. After I beat the crap out of you.
And I is in your neck.
Don't ever say that again. Don't you ever forget that.
Calling Buzz Lightyear. Come in, Buzz Lightyear.
Answer me that, smart guy.
You're right. I can control that. Coordinates our speciality.
Don't let it get to you, Woody.
What? I don't,
I know you got a dirty butt, but you know but we'll get some special love this view.
What? What are you talking about?
I'm sorry, Woody. Brought that guy there first.
What do I get my ass with now, Buzz, huh? You tell me.
I traveled all this way to find you, Sunroll, because I had a friend in need.
Well, you wasted your time.
Oh, that's sad. That's the saddest thing I ever heard.
Well, I must get back to building my fort.
What? Hey, guys, look! Buzz has got him.
My what?
What? Are you crazy?
You must be joking.
Hey, look, see? He didn't know his man.
Great. Now you can go.
Good riddance, Scaloni.
What's up, Woody?
Hey, very good, Woody. That's using the old doodle.
I don't think what else sucks.
Woody, what's up with you? Well, obviously, I want to have my ice cream.
Woody?
What? Why?
It's food flavor.
Tuesday night's coronavirus awareness meeting was, I think, a big success, and we want to thank Mr. Spell for putting that on for us. Thank you, Mr. Spell. Oh yes, one minor note here. Lockdown is the move for today.
I didn't know we were supposed to have one already.
We have to wash hands. Yeah, you guys think this is a big joke. I don't want to be toys lying. Now let's all relax and have a nice big ball of
Delicious hot schmoes.
no buzz. Meeting adjourned. It's gone! I can't believe it! The gold is completely gone!
Hang on, cowboy. You alright?
Oh, thank goodness. I can't find it. See?
It's not in Momo's room. We've looked everywhere.
The lawn gnome next door says, but he'll keep looking.
Don't worry, Woody. I've got a great idea.
Get out of here!
Perhaps you could respond to an alternative forward, right?
Great idea, Pocky.
What are we gonna do, Buzz?
Use your head.
That is disgusting.
Are you kidding? I say you just get small.
Yes! Thank you, Potato.
Come on, guys. Let's go out and get some roll.
What? Mind if I go, will you?
Yes. Let's go.
Where are we going?
Outside!
You're right. I can use one of those. All things are speciality.
Swelling, stiffness, instability, reduced range of motion. This is what it's like living with TGCT, a condition that can trap people in physical and emotional pain.
It feels hard to stay healthy in the face of the daily grind of this disease.
If you're feeling trapped by TGCT, you're not alone. Untangle the truth of TGCT and get the support you need at tgcttruth.com.
recently doesn't.
Oh, Cat, get your fire. In damn doodles. Lieutenant Marshal. Cat, Nancy. Calm down. DJ Blow Fire. Crap, the cat, and the real airlock. That's a lot of numbers.
Oh, you almost had it. Sure you will, Rex. In fact, you're a better time gangster, Woody.
Very good, Woody. Dad's using the old doodle.
I don't think it needs anyone else huts anymore.
Gotta snap me, you guys. Come on, let's go. Woody, what's up with you?
Well, obviously, I want to have my ice cream.
Woody?
Tuesday night's coronavirus awareness meeting was, I think, a big success. We want to thank Mr. Spell for putting that on for us. Thank you, Mr. Spell. Oh yes, one minor note here. Lockdown is a move today.
I didn't know we were supposed to have one already. Wash hands.
You guys think this is a big job? I don't want to be toys blind. Now let's all relax and have a nice, big, falling,
Delicious hot smokes.
no buzz. Meeting adjourned. It's gone! I can't believe it! It's completely gone!
Oh, hang on, cowboy. You all right?
Oh, yes, thank goodness. I can't find any tea.
It's not in Old Molly's room. We've looked everywhere.
Hello, no next door.
Don't worry, Woody. I've got a great idea.
Get out of here, huh?
Perhaps you could respond to an alternative for writing.
Great idea of talking.
What are we gonna do, Buzz?
Use your head.
Kidding? I say we just get some more.
Yes! Thank you, Potato.
Come on, guys. Let's come on now. Get some
Oh, yeah, wait, I still have the remaining.
Let's go, everybody.
Where are we going?
Just the metal gear.
Outside!
We'll be back before Woody's There are no restraining
I guess
orders.
I'll play this shortly before
can get back.
A big, stupid, knuckle-headed moron!
Hey, guys! Why did the toys cross the road?
Not now, man.
Oh, I love ribbons. Why?
To get to the crunch on the other side!
Oh well, he died.
There must be a safe way.
Look for a mess. We find house. How to look. Move out.
You come back here.
You dumb shit. What are you talking about?
Can't you see the sign? Expected no jersey. Come on. Expected no crap. Ain't no listening.
I'll be careful.
I'm telling you, big shot. Go on, beat it.
How dare you speak to me like that?
I'll talk to you anyway I like. You know who I am?
Look, mister, I just need to find some role.
Who do you think you are to be so particular? You're nothing.
Actually, I'm Buzz Lightyear.
Wise guy. You know everything. It's my place. I own it.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I'm gonna turn you into a dog.
Survival golf. The contestants.
I'm not mad.
Round one.
Give me one.
Fuck you, Hickey!
Speed, I speed. Focus. 5-hour energy is focus. Speed.
Weed!
I smoke weed for breakfast.
Hey, listen.
Ooh, backspin. Fresh one.
The possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,752 miles. Jack, would you be willing to suck your mom?
Horse's ass.
Get out of the shot.
Chuck, yo, what are you doing? You're blocking it, blocking it, blocking it, blocking it. Yo, yo. Now fill my ass with gas. I know it's Chuck.
I think I'm looking Johnny Cookie.
Beat the man! You gotta beat the man!
That is spectacular advice. Is this for the king? Here. Billy Mays here. And I use Admiral Akbar cereal. Rusty's medicated abs. Nothing sues a Rusty abs like Rusty's. Look at that shit. You too. Look hard. Yeah. You too. Look like me.
Scroll back, like.
Hey guys, I'm coming in.
Oh God. Oh boy. I am not gonna hear the end of this.
You done an idiot. We got ourselves a contender.
Gay niggas.
You're not mad. I'm not mad.
I'm pissed.
The 3 victims were part of a CXS.
Fucking right in the pussy.
I'm sitting here with Fred.
I want him out of our town.
To you, the believer.
Now, won't she have to
What are you gonna do? Suck me to death?
If you're going left, not hard, you'll find a right. Left.
turn right, go right, no shit. Fuck you. Opposite world, what an idiot. Turn right to go right, left. Yes, no. Fuck you, Hickey! Focus. Speed.
Speed. Speed.
Focus.
5-hour energy is focus.
Speed. Weed. I smoke weed for breakfast.
Holy shit.
Whoa, guys, whoa.
The possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,750
Jack, would you be willing to suck your mom?
Horse's ass.
Oh, great.
How will I ever find anyone else who knows how to fill my ass with gas? Adios, Chuck. I think I'm looking down the cookie. That is spectacular advice. Is for the king? No. Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes. Here. Billy Mays here. Can I use cereal? Rusty's medicated baths. Nothing suits a rusty bath like Rusty's. Look at that shit. You too. No color. Sit down. You too. It look like me. Jack. Fuck you. I hate Rusty for. Hey guys, I'm coming in.
Oh boy, I am not gonna hear the end of this.
You jackass! You've done it, idiot!
So it looks like a dildo.
We got ourselves a game.
The 3 victims were part of the CXS.
Why do you want to go quickly? I'm sitting here with Fred.
I want him out of our town. I'm leaning for it. Now, looking at this what are you gonna do? Suck me to death?
It looks awful.
No, that's the rest of it now.
If you're going left, enough hard, you'll find right. Left.
Turn right to go right? No shit. Up you! Opposite world? What an idiot. Turn right to go right left. Yeah, no.
This whole class is gonna feel my
Give me one.
Here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed. Focus. 5-hour energy is focus. Speed. Weed. I smoke weed for breakfast. Hey, look at it. Would you mind? What about tomato up here?
Whoa, guys, whoa.
The possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,752 miles.
Jack, would you be willing to suck your mom?
boss's ass.
Very cocky. Lightning McQuarrie. Hey, get out of the shot. Yo, Chuck, yo. What are you doing? You're fucking it, fucking it, fucking it, fucking it. Yo, yo. How will I ever find anyone else who knows how to fill my ass with gas? Adios, Chuck.
I think I'm looking at giant cookie.
You got a big man! That's spectacular advice, Mr. King. Oh. No. Yes, no. Here. Billy Mays here. Can I use cereal? Rusty's medicated baths. Nothing suits a rusty baths like Rusty's. Look at that shit. You too. No time. Sit down. You too. It looked like me.
So that
Whoa.
Fuck you. I hate rusty parts.
Yes.
Hey guys, I'm coming in.
Oh God. Oh boy. I am not gonna hear the end of this.
You jackass! You done an idiot!
So it looks like a dildo.
Yo, DJ! We got ourselves a
Game.
You're not mad? I'm not mad.
The three victims were part of a CXS.
Fucking right, no pussy!
I'm sick.
Survival goal. The contestants. Round one.
Let's try this. Oh. Man.
And welcome on to the Friday. I think you're all know how to fly big longer or not writing some head. Thank you. Right, no,
Nice.
Chevy Silverado. Technology you can rely on.
My old phone carrier was reaching their hand into my wallet and just helping themselves. I like having no surprises when it comes to my cell phone bill. And with Spectrum, it saved me a ton of money.
Real customers, real savings. To see how much you can save, visit spectrum.com/save.
Hollywoodland might be the most controversial themed land in all of California Adventure. And in today's video, we're going to look through some comments to see how all of you would change or improve it. Before we get started, please like this video, please leave a comment down below, and of course, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. At the time of this recording, we're pushing for 20,000 subscribers. So I would greatly appreciate your help to reach that goal. Thank you so much, everyone. So obviously, in our current reality, Avatar Land is taking up a good chunk of Hollywoodland. So that is mentioned in multiple of these comments. All right, first comment, easy. Turn it into an Incredibles area, a full area going up to Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Give us 2 rides, one where the theater is, and the other into a ride like Ratatouille, Runaway Railway, and Rise of the Resistance where Monsters Inc. is. This is honestly a really, really cool idea. It's something I've never considered. In an alternate reality where Pixar Pier and Incredicoaster never happened, they could have made Hollywoodland a really cool Incredibles land. Like, obviously, I feel like if Disney ever builds an Incredibles land, it's gonna have to be a cityscape. And Hollywoodland is already a cityscape, so you just drop down a couple attractions into Hollywoodland and you have a pretty easy transition. But instead, they spent their money doing an absolutely horrible, cheap reskin of Pixar Pier. So this is an absolutely fascinating one to start this video. I think in 2018, when they were trying to promote Incredibles 2, if they just dropped like a ton of money into an Incredibles dark ride to replace Monsters Inc., that could have been so cool. It would have been way better to refresh Hollywoodland instead of the pier area, in my opinion. If you know me and you know this channel, you know that I'm very opinionated about the pier. I love Paradise Pier, and I think they absolutely ruined it with Pixar Pier. So this would have been a much better alternative, in my opinion, because I personally don't care for Hollywoodland, and I think a lot of people would have really liked to see an Incredibles land instead of Hollywood. The only thing is, I don't know if Disney would want to replace the Hyperion Theater. I feel like that's a pretty valuable asset, even though they don't use it, which is so bizarre. Very strange. But overall, this is a really fascinating idea. I'm a big fan of it. Next comment, keep the Avatar expansion. If they can create a boat ride with minimal usage of screens, and scale the practical sets to what Battle of the Ministry uses, it can be a game changer. People can hate on it, and I understand that completely, which is why Disney needs to put their foot down, think budget secondary, and go all out for this boat ride. Make it something I'm not gonna lie, you are a much more understanding person than I am. I do not understand why so many people are complaining about Avatar coming to California Adventure. I do not understand why so many people are upset about Monsters Inc. closing. Monsters Inc. is one of Disney's worst dark rides. It always has been. I don't know why people are so mad about this ride closing. Like, oh my god, it's like genuine rage bait for me. Like, I'll be scrolling through Instagram and I'll see a post about how, oh my gosh, Monsters Inc. is staying open until 2027, and then all the comments are like, oh thank god, they should keep it forever. Screw Avatar. Nobody wants Avatar. I want Avatar. Oh my god, it's like the most. Oh my god, it's just pure rage bait for me. I love Pandora the World of Avatar at Animal Kingdom. I think it's my favorite themed land of all time. It's genuinely spectacular. Monsters Inc. My Consoling to the Rescue opened as Superstar Limo. Superstar Limo was heavily criticized as one of Disney's worst attractions of all time. They took that ride, they put a cheap re-theme onto it to a very popular Pixar movie, which has nothing to do with Hollywood. Hollywood Land and Monsters Inc., like, the only connection that is there is the fact that it's a movie, which is kind of weak in my opinion. So the fact that we're getting this full-blown Avatar-themed land, or at least that's what the concept art looks like, and we're getting a full-scale immersive boat ride, and I do believe that they're going to spend a butt ton of money on it. Like, Avatar is obviously it's the highest grossing movie of all time. Avatar 2 made $2 billion. I think Avatar 3 made like $1.5 billion, if I remember right. So it's a very successful franchise. It's very popular. People care about Avatar. They've seen these movies 3 times, but for some reason Disney Park fans are just so protective of this crummy, reskinned dark ride. Oh my god, I hate that ride so ready for it to close, and I'm so sad that they pushed it back another year. I'm pretty sure the only reason they did that is because Avengers Campus is taking forever. But yes, I'm very passionate about this. I'm very excited for Avatar, and I will pop a bottle of champagne once that ride closes. I don't think we have to worry about the quality of the Avatar ride coming to California Adventure. I truly believe it's going to be one of Disney's masterpieces, and I'm so excited for that to open. Why I'm very frustrated that they're not starting construction sooner. The delay might also have to do with the parking structure, because Avatar is going where the bus loop is, right behind Monsters Inc. So it's going to be a big expansion pad, and obviously they can't really close that bus loop until they relocate it to the other side of Harbor Boulevard. So that might also be another delay. But either way, it's still frustrating. The general discourse that I've seen online is even more frustrating, at least to me. Alright, we're gonna move on. Give me Rock and Roller Coaster with the Guardians ride system. Similar to the Incredibles topic, this could be like a cool, like, alternate reality. Like, you didn't clarify, like, Mission Breakout or Cosmic Rewind, but it's something like Cosmic Rewind. But either way, I remember watching a YouTube video, like, years and years and years ago. I don't know if it's still out there. Like, an alternate reality where Rock and Roller Coaster was a drop ride at Hollywood Studios, and the Twilight Zone attraction was the roller coaster. Like, that's kind of a cool, like, reality switch. So to think of maybe like an alternate 2004 in California Adventure where they built Rock and Roller Coaster as a drop tower instead of the modified honestly, in my opinion, Disneyland is representation, preferably an attraction. I hope maybe Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios gets a full-blown Zootopia land one day. So it will be very I love the animation of Captain so that's it as well. I'm very excited for Avatar. I feel like Mary Poppins would be a better fit as Disneyland Park. You watch my Disneyland Wizards video, I feel like the Mary Poppins theme would be a perfect fit for the 7th Disneyland Park. Because Mary Poppins is like one of Walt Disney's masterpieces, you know? And obviously Disneyland is Walt's park, so having that in his park would make a lot of sense. It would definitely be very cool to see that California. I feel like that might tie in more to Disneyland. Just walking around California, I think there's a lot of Disneyland, and if you bring Mary Poppins, you'll just bring more of that out of California. I don't know how I feel about like movie properties together in Hollywood like that, because as I said earlier, I personally feel like the only advantage about it is also being the fact that it's a movie, you can put a bunch of movies together and just come off of a double plan. That's kind of as you know, like okay, so here it is right now. Like I'm not the biggest fan of the entrance area to Star Wars at Hollywood Studios, where it's a couple AT-ATs that are like literally sets. Like when you walk to the other side, you can see how they are, and that's theming, but it's just it kind of gives me a sour taste in my mouth. I prefer when they lean into it, like the AT-ATs on Rise of the Resistance that are like fully themed out. That's like the coolest thing in the world to me, and that's what I personally prefer. Next comment. Add Rock and Roller Coaster or literally any coaster. California Adventure only has 2 roller coasters, while Disneyland Park has 4. Maybe a coaster from the Emperor's New Groove, from the quote, "Pull the lever, Kronk." It's actually really funny that you commented this. I believe this comment was posted before the leaks or rumors that Villains Land at Magic Kingdom is going to have a Pull the Lever Emperor's New Groove roller coaster. Like that could be really cool. You kind of saw the future. We posted this, and obviously Disney loves cloning attractions, so maybe if they add that Emperor's New Groove roller coaster to their Magic Kingdom, they might clone it for California Adventure. Next comment. I'm disappointed with what they did with the Disney Animation Building since they got rid of most of the Sorcerer's Workshop and how the characters and stuff is just on that also. I would update that with some of the features from Disney World's upcoming part of animation. Primarily the best part of the attraction. The system of your stage, I think, should be replaced with a new guard ride that goes into the Hollywood theme. Or Mickey's still hard magic. They should either bring back Hollywood or replace it with some together. Should be replaced with a new ticket attraction. Roller coaster, all except maybe the monsters and roller coaster, rock and roller coaster, salmonids, something more than original. Lots of cool ideas. I do agree that the animation academy was and you may think of point that they're adding I really appreciate how bold this idea is. I think it could be really. Next comment. A mock ride striker coaster with a similar theme as Tower of Terror. It could be fun to take a tour of a restaurant or something, only for you to end up stuck in the Twilight Zone. It could be themed to paranormal activities. Example, you could have Ghost Tower of Terror chase you, only for you to escape into another room that has gremlins in it that start tearing up the ride vehicle. It could even include a drop track at some point as a tribute to the original ride. This would allow for the return of the theming from Tower of Terror, as well as adding a much needed coaster for that park. Also, I would say Mock Striker because of its compact, high capacity nature. And yes, I know this would never happen. Man, I wish it would though. I'm a Mock Rides fanboy. I would absolutely lose my marbles if California Adventure ever built a Mock thrill coaster. The Striker model looks really cool from Europa Park, and I feel like the theming is very bold. As we discussed earlier in the video, like an alternate reality where the Tower of Terror was a roller coaster and Rocking Roller Coaster was a drop tower, this would be like Tower of Terror roller coaster, which is really cool. And I like that you pointed out that a drop track would be a tribute to the original Tower of Terror. Very cool idea. This is like an absolute dream for me as a coaster fan. I love mock rides and I love California Adventure, and the theming would be an absolute bold swing. So I would lose my mind in California Adventure if anything came over here. Literally anything in the Hyperion Theater, whether it be Frozen, Aladdin, Mirages, just put something in there. I'm tired of it collecting dust and wasting space. I completely agree. I feel like they're committed to doing it. I understand, like, it's a high capacity building, but they need to have something in it. It's just really bizarre. Built in just 1 year and a day, the park was wrapping across most of its planets. Rides like the Canal Boat of the World were little more than slow boat rides past undecorated banks of dirt. The island in the center of the rivers of America was an empty construction of grass and dirt, and attractions like the stagecoach and pack mule treks to Potatoland could equally be described as slow journeys through barren expanses of dirt. Disneyland in 1955 was truthfully a lot of dirt, and perhaps the best example of the emptiness of Disneyland was the transition between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland in the northeast section of the park, an area that didn't contain any attractions at all. Leftover space for potential future expansions. If this whole theme park thing worked out, this part of the park was currently being used for, well, you know, more dirt. Specifically, the dirt that was dug up during the construction of the moat surrounding Sleeping Beauty Castle, left there with some minor landscaping to give the 20-foot mound a more natural look. In 1955, Disney named this particular mound of dirt Holiday Hill, actually the location of a planned land named Holidayland, which would have featured small-town amenities like a picnic spot and a baseball diamond. A land which did end up being built a few years later, but was instead placed elsewhere beyond the Disneyland berm. Holiday Hill was initially fenced off from guests. There is some debate about the exact order of events, but from what I've read, it seems that soon after opening day, frequent fence jumping from teenage couples looking for a place to hide away prompted Disney to add pathways, shrubbery, and benches to the area to encourage guests to the top for a view of the Disneyland, turning the hill into a sort of attraction itself. As 1956 arrived, Disneyland would begin to fill out some of those areas that left half finished its opening year. Tomorrowland would receive the first iteration of its spinning rocket ride, the Astrojets. The island in the center of the rivers of America became Soil Island. The dirt trails of Frontierland would be transformed into much improved desert. And the empty area near Holiday Hill would be new attractions too. Disney recently discovered or
And I guess that's why it's still
Excited by the idea of hosting a roleplay in Disneyland, he immediately bought the ride system from Bob Roll and enlisted the company to work alongside his Imagineers to bring it to his new theme park. The Von Roll goers were to run from the edge of Tomorrowland across to the other side of Fantasyland, providing guests an aerial view of a large part of the park in the same way as the existing Disneyland Railroad. And conveniently, the leftover dirt of Holiday Hill would prove central in accentuating the new ride, as one of these support poles could be placed on top of the hill, taking passengers much higher over Disneyland. The Von Roll ride system would have a very basic look. The undecorated poles placed along the route were purely functional, and the ride vehicles themselves would be simple, coloured metal buckets with 2 seats bolted to the floor. But to give the ride some sense of theme, the 2 stations at either end of its route would be stylized after their respective lands. The Tomorrowland station given a similar futuristic look typical of the 1950s, and in fitting with the homeland of its manufacturers, the station in Fantasyland would be a decorative Swiss chalet. Lastly, the Von Roll 101 roadway would be given a much simpler name, and instead, promotional posters went up announcing the opening of the Skyway. The Skyway would welcome its first guests on June 23rd, just 1 week after the Commons Island began its summer guests would the Tomorrowland hours to make myself. This took me 2 minutes. No planning or cooking, so I'm not working out. I'm actually staying consistent. If you care about performance and efficiency, this is the smarter way to lose weight.
This one or this one? Sam, were you cheating on me with another pet store? It's not you, it's just I have auto ship. I still got a PetSmart for grooming and toys. We don't want to be your side pet store, Sam. PetSmart has auto ship too. You do? And so much more. Come on. We also have same-day delivery and in-store pickup. You're like the full package. Bigger. Shop anything? Anyway. PetSmart. Anything for pets.
Holiday Hill was, of course, a quick fix for a park rushing to open. And so, not long into its life, Walt Disney had discussed plans with his Imagineers to replace the hill with a snowy mountain to house a toboggan run. Walt had originally wanted real snow, but after being convinced that this just wasn't feasible for Southern California, the plan evolved into a candy mountain, and eventually some form of wild mouse coaster with fake snow instead. It wouldn't be until Walt Disney went to the Swiss Alps to check on the filming of the movie Third Man on the Mountain that he would realize what Holiday Hill should become, and his Imagineers back in California would receive a postcard of the inexorable mountain with 2 words written on the back: build this. And so in 1959, when the newest part of Disneyland was ready to open, it would feature a new lagoon housing the submarine voyage, the first ever Disney monorail, and a 147-foot recreation of the Matterhorn, home to the world's first ever tubular steel roller coaster. The full story of the Matterhorn bobsleds is perhaps one for another time, but as far as the Skyway was concerned, it also provided a fantastic opportunity to further integrate the attraction into its surroundings, as rather than going up and over Holiday Hill, the Skyway would now travel directly through the Matterhorn, providing riders of both attractions views of one another as they went past. It also helped that both rides were Swiss, as they looked as if Disney had planned it that way from the top. The next change for the Skyway would come in 1965. The original gondolas had a central pole sitting right between the 2 seats, and they were a little difficult to get in and out of. That year, a new design would be introduced by Disney Imagineer Bob using a mixture of steel and plastic to create colourful cable cars, now with room for up to 4 passengers. Interestingly, these new vehicles were added gradually, and for a short time, both the original and new ones could be seen on the ride. As Disneyland entered its second decade of operation, the Skyway provided a great vantage point for guests to see the park's continued growth. In 1967, the year after the passing of Disney, Tomorrowland received a grand redesign, and among the dark rides and the Carousel of Progress, the land received the Good People Mover, another transportation-based attraction with a very similar vehicle design to the new Skyway cars, and guests could wave to each other from the 2 rides. In 1971, the Skyway turned 15 years old. That year, one of the most significant in history, as the company on the other side of the country, Florida, there was also a just one park, Magic Kingdom, a castle naturally, the Skyway would be one of these attractions. The Disney World Skyway would have a slight undercut, with the gondolas going through a tiny pole halfway through, above the
Tomorrowland named Discovery Park, featuring devices of French and early models and concept art plans included a skyway crisscrossing overhead, with new pillars made to look like second airships. Rather than an A-to-B journey, the ride would have been a round-trip tour of the land from above, much like the other Tomorrowlands had the people mover. However, the Paris Skyway never made it past the concept stage, and Disney would never build any more Skyway rides within the parks. In the 1990s, the Disney parks found themselves under increasing pressure to modernize and to introduce more exciting, thrill-based attractions. Pressure brought on mainly by the company's then CEO, Michael Eisner, who had set out plans for the Disney Decade, a 10-year run of ambitious new projects across the whole company. In 1994, one of these projects had arrived at Magic Kingdom, with the opening of Disney World's new Tomorrowland, adding several new attractions, some of which I've covered in previous videos on my channel, and changing the land's theme to that of an alien spaceport. As Disney World guests rode towards the new Tomorrowland, they would now see the spires of Astra Orbiter come into view from their Skyway gondolas. But what they could no longer see on that trip were the nautilus submarines of 20,000 meters under the sea, as it would close in Fantasyland in September, leaving a notably empty lagoon beneath them. And on the other side of the country, on December 9th, the Disneyland Skyway will suddenly close after 38 years of operation. Speculation about the exact reason why such a classic attraction had closed began immediately, with the most common rumor being that Disney had been forced to close the Skyway because of a serious incident that had occurred earlier that year. In April, a 30-year-old man had fallen from his gondola into a tree near the Alice in Wonderland park. He then tried to sue Disney for the incident, and many people assumed that this accident had sparked safety concerns that had caused the unexpected closure. However, he later admitted that he actually jumped deliberately. There was another similar incident at Disney World too, where in 1982, as the ride was being restarted after a weather closure, a cast member was pushed out of the Fantasyland station by a moving vehicle and left dangling 35 feet in the air. She lost her grip on the vehicle, falling onto a roof below, injuring her back, but surviving the incident. But aside from an evacuation in 1983 after high winds, the Disneyland Skyway had no genuine major incidents that could have led to its closure. The reality, or at least the most widely accepted explanation for why the Skyway closed, was that cracks had formed where the ride supports connected to the inside of the platform, and that these would be too expensive to fix. Essentially, such an old ride at Disneyland was falling apart. There are several other explanations that have been given over the years. One is that with that modernization push in the 90s, the Skyway was seen as not being exciting enough for the Disney decade. Cable cars were no longer a novelty, and in fact, many other parks and other tourist spots had opened very similar attractions that turned the Skyway into one of many, rather than a standout Disney experience. In the book, The Disneyland Story by Sam Genoway, Imagineer Tony Baxter is quoted as saying the closure was simply a cost-cutting measure. With the 1995 opening of Indiana Jones Temple of the Forbidden Eye in Adventureland, management at the time was of the mindset that every ride opening should be accompanied by a ride closing to offset costs. And so the Skyway was sacrificed. This idea also makes sense when you consider that by 1994, Disney was reeling financially from the terrible opening of Euro Disneyland, which forced cancellations and cutbacks across nearly everything that came out of the rest of the 90s and beyond. The same book also claims that Imagineers did propose a new, upgraded version of the Skyway with larger six-person, fully enclosed gondolas now going around the Matterhorn, and with a third station at Critter Country to extend the route. But this idea never ended up happening. And the Disneyland Story also claims that the ride no longer met the new safety standards for aerial travel, and that accessibility laws would have required the stations to install elevators and make the gondolas wheelchair accessible, something that Disney felt wasn't feasible. I think in this way, it is kind of fair to say that a big reason why the Disneyland Skyway closed was that it was too dangerous. It's just not in the sense that people think. There weren't verifiable incidents, more that it was too dangerous from a more boring, legislative, bureaucratic perspective. Disney executives were concerned about the potential for something to happen. That section in the book I just referenced is titled with a quote about the Skyway from Disneyland President Jack Lindquist, an accident waiting to happen. Soon after the closure, the support towers that had been a prominent site since 1956 were removed, and the tunnel through the Matterhorn was partially covered up. In Tokyo, the shorter enclosed Skyway remained open for another 4 years, but in 1998, it also closed to make way for Pools Honeycutt, and all of the remnants of that Skyway were completely removed from the park. The final operating Skyway.
Local tax experts are here. Now you can meet with a TurboTax expert in your community. They can do your taxes for you and get you every dollar you deserve. Local tax experts are here. Hand off your taxes with confidence.
Was the one at Walt Disney, now travelling over a drastically different Magic Kingdom than the one it had originally been built over. With the closure of the other two, its days were clearly numbered, and unfortunately, in 1999, the Disney World Skyway would be the site of a tragic incident. In February, a cast member named Raymond Barlow was knocked out of the Fantasyland station after the ride was switched back on before the park's opening that morning. In a very similar scenario to the accident in 1982, he held onto the gondola that had collided with him, but ended up falling 40 feet, sadly dying from his injuries. Disney World received a $4,500 fine for violating safety codes as a result of the accident, and whether or not this was the exact thing to do it, in November, the last of Disney's Skyways would permanently close. Just like at Disneyland, the cables and support towers were removed from the park very soon after the closure. The Disneyland Tomorrowland station was also demolished, aside from a set of stairs near the people. But in both parks, these stations in Fantasyland were left standing. In Disney World, the Tomorrowland station was also left intact, closed off from guests, now acting as a generic but inaccessible building in the land. The water feature on the side of the station was still active, and the space where gondolas would enter and exit was clearly visible. The building did still serve a purpose though, as the restrooms on the ground floor were still operational. Disney World's Fantasyland station also continued as a generic piece of theming for the land. The area in front of it was used for stroller parking and some character meet and greets, but the large building itself was completely closed. Disneyland's Fantasyland station was initially expected to be transformed into a dining area, an expansion to the opposite Village House quick service restaurant, but this never came to fruition, and after the Skyway's closure, the staircase leading up to it was roped off, and the trees surrounding the building were allowed to grow out, covering much of the old station from view. After a few years, it became apparent that the stations of both sides had become effectively abandoned, hidden in plain sight, some very plain sight, in the middle of the world's busiest theme parks. I would normally criticize this type of abandonment, but leaving these buildings like this kind of makes sense. The Swiss chalets fit into the theme of Fantasyland well enough that all demolishing them would achieve would be a shrinking of the land. And so while it would have been better if Disney had replaced them with a new attraction, it wasn't as big a deal as some of the later abandonments that Disney would allow in the coming years, like River Country and the Monsters of Life Pavilion. Of course, being abandoned locations in a Disney theme park, as the 21st century approached, it wouldn't be long before the Skyway stations started drawing the attention of Disney's urban explorers, although not to the extent that you might expect. I think a combination of low interest in the buildings compared to those other sites, combined with just how exposed they were in their respective parks, made them a far less common target. People would very occasionally venture past the roped-off staircases to stick a camera through the window, and many more typical, non-trespassing fans took pictures of the stations from guest-accessible areas, documenting their decay. But images inside the stations were exceedingly rare, and the small number of times they did appear online, they were actually taken with permission. By 2008, photos emerged showing the inside of the Disneyland chalet, revealing that while it wasn't in the best state, it wasn't quite as abandoned as some have suggested. Temporary tables showing the area was actively being used by Disney cast members. Photos posted by the Imaginary Disney blog in 2010 from a trip taken inside the Magic Kingdom chalet 2 to 3 years earlier showed a much worse looking station. The queue line is still intact, but the walls and floor covered in grime. Finally, in 2009, after 10 years of sitting empty, steps were taken to remove the Disney World stations, as the Tomorrowland building had its top floor demolished, but its ground floor restrooms were left behind, becoming their own standalone building. And the chalet in Fantasyland was torn down too, with a new set of restrooms and a tower themed to the movie Tangled built in its place, opening in 2013 as part of the new Fantasyland expansion for the park. The Fantasyland station in Disneyland would remain behind the trees until the mid-2010s, when Disney announced the construction of the new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, to be built in the northwest of the park beyond Frontierland. And as part of the construction, the station, which has stood for 60 years, was demolished in 2016, and the last major part of any of Disney's Skyway attractions disappeared from the parks for good. While all of those major parts of the Skyway attractions are now gone, today there are still some smaller remnants of the classic attraction of both Disneyland and Disney World. The remnants at Disney World are very minor. Mainly, the restroom building still exists, and if you look at the shape of the building from above, it's clear how it was designed with the route of the Skyway in mind. At Disneyland, the staircase in Tomorrowland on the side of the old Carousel of Progress building still exists, as does the staircase that once led guests up to the Swiss chalet in Fantasyland. And while they have been covered up to make them look more natural, the tunnels through the Matterhorn are still pretty visible. Speaking of the Matterhorn, in 2015, the ride was refurbished again with new additions like an improved animatronic and a new scene showing items left from previous failed expeditions to the mountain, like several crashed bobsleds and the remains of an old Lastly, in 2019, the Skyway would resurface once again in a different way, as Disney World would debut the Skyliner, not a ride within their parks, but a transportation system between their parks, a multi-stop, multi-route network connecting some of the resort's hotels to Hollywood Studios and Epcot in much larger 8-person, fully enclosed cars. It's not quite the same thing, but in a way, it does serve as an evolution of the transportation system Walt Disney's impulse purchase in 1956 was originally supposed to be. From a modern perspective, the Skyway may have been a pretty boring attraction. It had no story, no real theming or show scenes that were its own, and the ride experience itself was basic. I've already mentioned that it was a novel experience in the 50s, but beyond that time period, I think the Skyway still served an important role in its respective parks. I've spoken before on the channel a few times now about my love for meta attractions. Attractions that, rather than existing in their own bubble, are integrated within the land, serving as a kind of texture for the area to accentuate everything around it. I've explained this concept in more detail in my Rocket Rod video, but in a similar way to things like the People Mover and the Railroad, the Skyway was deeply integrated into the park itself, going through and around other things as a way of introducing guests to the park more broadly. And I think the other thing that's special about the Skyway that I wanted to mention was that it didn't actually change that much over its lifetime. Rather, the park changed around it. And that made it a great way to view the progression of Disneyland. When I wrote this video, I wanted to include all of those stories about the attractions that changed around it, because I want to show that with a ride whose whole purpose is to view the rest of the park, it is that ever-changing view and the gradual emergence of modern Disneyland that is central to its experience. The Skyway is also very interesting to think about because while it has now been gone for so long, there was a time when the gondolas flying over the park was as iconic a Disneyland site as the Carousel, or Big Thunder Mountain, or Dumbo, or any of these other core elements that are taken for granted as being typical of a Disney theme park. Do you have any memories at the Disney Skyway? If you rode it at any of its locations, or even if you never got the chance to experience it, let me know what you think about the Skyway in the comments. A massive thank you to my Patreon members for supporting the creation of this video and all the other videos on my channel. If you want to support the channel on Patreon and access exclusive bonus content, like my most recent video covering what the best year to visit Disney World was, you can check that out with the link in the description. Other than that, if you're new here, please consider hitting subscribe, as there are plenty more videos about theme parks coming in the future. And as always, I'll see you next time.
Okay, I guess let's skip the outro. So, thank y'all for watching me play or cover on the stream without even chatting. See y'all when I feel like doing this stream again. You guys know down below at the beginning. So yeah, not sure when.